iPhone 13 versus iPhone 15. What is the difference? How do they compare to each other? Which one offers better value for money? And if you are upgrading from an older iPhone, which one should you buy between the two? In this video, I'll be answering all of those questions by walking you through the features of the iPhone 13 versus the iPhone 15, including the camera, the design, the display, the performance, and more. So let's get to it. How's it going, everyone? My name is Musa Nziane. So 3 months ago, I upgraded from the iPhone 13 to the iPhone 15. So I thought I should make this video to share my experiences and compare the two phones. So let us start with the build and the design of each phone. The iPhone 13 and the iPhone 15 share an identical design. The difference is that the iPhone 15 is a little bit more rounded on the edges, while the iPhone 13 is more flat. The iPhone 13 is a little bit heavy, while the iPhone 15 is a bit light. And that makes the iPhone 15 a little bit easier to hold. Both these iPhones are made of aluminum. The difference is that the iPhone 13 has a more glossy and glass finish, while the iPhone 15 has a more frosted and matte finish. So the iPhone 15 is a better option because it catches lesser fingerprints compared to that glass finish of the iPhone 13. However, other people may prefer the glass finish over the matte finish. But at the end of the day, you might use the phone with a case, so that might not matter that much. And in terms of the side buttons, both phones share the same side buttons. The difference is with the ports. The iPhone 13 uses a Lightning port, while the iPhone 15 uses a USB-C port. So this means the iPhone 15 is more feature-proof because all of iPhone accessories will eventually convert to USB-C. And as you all know, USB-C is now used as a universal port. But for someone like me who has already invested in a lot of Lightning accessories, the USB-C is not always the best option at the moment. And something to note is that the USB-C transfer and charging speeds on the regular iPhone 15 are not that much different from what you get on your Lightning. So if you want faster charging speeds, you might have to consider getting the iPhone 15 Pro, because the iPhone 15 Pro uses a faster USB-C port. And by the way, if you're enjoying this video, please hit a like button and consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let's continue. And now let us talk about the display. So both phones use a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR display. However, the iPhone 13 has up to 1.2 nits of peak brightness, while the iPhone 15 can go up to 2000 nits peak brightness outdoors. So the iPhone 15 uses a brighter display. However, you are likely to notice the difference only when you're outdoors, especially in direct sunlight. One other thing to note is that both displays only come with a 60 Hz refresh rate. I know it's 2024 and everyone was disappointed that Apple decided to fit only a 60 Hz refresh rate display on the iPhone 15 especially. On the iPhone 13, maybe it made sense back then, but now on the iPhone 15, it's still the same refresh rate. However, I always say that the average person might not even notice the difference between a 120 refresh rate and a 60 Hz refresh rate. Also, iOS is well optimized. The screen is fast and is smooth. It might not be as smooth as a 120 refresh rate, but it is not slow. The other difference on the screen, of course, is the notch. The iPhone 13 uses an older notch, while the iPhone 15 uses the newer dynamic island notch. The difference is that the dynamic island notch, aka the pill-shaped cutout, is dynamic, meaning that it adapts to the different apps that you are using. So it will show you different information and notifications depending on the app that you are using. So that means that the iPhone 15 dynamic island notch is more useful compared to the older notch that only houses the camera, the front camera, and the Face ID sensor. But I must say, both notches look good. They are good at differentiating an iPhone from all of the other screens. Everyone's screen just looks the same if it's a full screen, but the notch is the one thing that makes the iPhone display unique. So I kind of like that. I kind of like both notches, the older and the newer one. I kind of like them. However, I was more used to the older notch, and when it comes to watching content on full screen, I always say that I prefer the older notch and not the newer dynamic island notch. But I think over time I'll get used to the dynamic island notch. And now let us talk about, of course, the cameras. In general, iPhone cameras are very good. And I must say that although there is some difference between the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 15, both phones take great pictures and great videos. The iPhone 13 uses a dual 12 megapixel camera that is two lenses, a wide 12 megapixel lens and an ultra wide 12 megapixel lens. While the iPhone 15 uses a dual advanced camera system that has a 48 megapixel main camera, a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera and a 12 megapixel 2x telephoto camera, and that is 3 camera lenses. I know some of you are already thinking, what do you mean 3 camera lenses? Because the regular iPhone 15 only has 2 camera lenses. I agree with you, physically you can only see 2 camera lenses. However, the iPhone 15 uses the 48 main megapixel camera to create a 12 megapixel 2x telephoto shot. So that is like having a third camera. So that's how Apple managed to fit in the third camera capabilities using only 2 cameras. So the iPhone 15 camera system is indeed advanced. And in addition, the iPhone 15 has better optical zoom options and also digital zoom options. And this is one of the reasons why I upgraded from the iPhone 13 to the iPhone 15. And in terms of video recording, both iPhones are very good and they can both record 4K videos with up to 60 FPS. Both iPhones can record cinematic videos. Cinematic mode is one of my favorite video recording modes. The iPhone 13 records cinematic mode at 1080p up to 30 frames, while the iPhone 15 can record 4K cinematic videos with up to 30 FPS. And this again was another reason why I upgraded from the iPhone 13 to the iPhone 15, because I love cinematic mode. So I thought if I can get cinematic mode in 4K, then even better. So in summary, I can say that both cameras are good. However, you can see that the iPhone 15 takes things a step further. So if a camera is very important to you, you might have to make note of that when you are making the decision. And now let's talk performance. The iPhone 13 uses an A15 Bionic chip, which is a powerful chip and it's still good enough in 2024. It has a 6-core CPU, a 4-core GPU, and a 16-core neural engine. For those who don't know what that means, to make it simple, just think of a CPU as the main processor of the phone, and then think of the GPU as the processor that is responsible for the graphics, and then think of the neural engine as the processor that is responsible for the machine learning and the AI capabilities of the phone. And the iPhone 15 uses a faster A16 Bionic chip, and that has a 6-core CPU and a 5-core GPU and a 16-core neural engine. The A16 chip is also used by the iPhone 14 Pro, and that is one of the reasons why I upgraded to the iPhone 15. I wanted to have that Pro chip. And then the last thing, let us talk about the battery life. So in terms of the battery life, both phones have what they call an all-day battery life, meaning that they are good enough to take you throughout the day when you're out until you get to charge it again later in the day. So from my experience, I've seen that with the iPhone 13, I used to get somewhere around 14 to 18 hours. And then with the iPhone 15, I'm getting a little bit more, and that is somewhere between 16 to 20 hours before I can charge again. Again, this depends on what I'm doing. So I'm talking about on a normal use where I'm doing things such as taking phone calls, maybe texting there and there, replying to emails, browsing the internet, maybe listening to music as well, taking a few pictures. That is what I mean by a normal use, and that's where I get these hours of 14 to 18 on the iPhone 13, and then also 16 up to 20 hours on the iPhone 15 based on my experience. So the iPhone 15 does give me at least an hour or 2 more than what I was getting on the iPhone 13. So you can see that the difference is not that much there. And that is how the iPhone 13 compared to the iPhone 15. If you want to see the reviews of both phones in more detail, I have linked the videos down on the description below. So that's how these two phones compare to each other. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know, what do you think of this comparison? Let me know which one you would be going for. Don't forget to hit the like button and to consider subscribing to the channel. I'll catch you on the next video.